more esports. Do we have time for that, or do you want to go right into collaborative world?
No, because we're technically collaborating anyway, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just jump in.
We're going to jump super in. I will just spend 1 minute reminding everybody, remember, build and pass like Karen. We can start there. Watch those videos, test out multiplayer. And again, you're going to get an email probably Monday next week with all the recap. We'll have a blog with the top highlights. And most importantly, there'll be a sign-up form for if you would like a one-on-one with a lesson idea with a mentor, and we'll match you up. So do make sure you check your spam in case it's hitting there. But and we'll also have a survey about this month. Do you want more of these types of events? We'd love to offer them for you. So let us know what you liked most, what we could improve on, and we are all ears. And we'll also have a redemption for you to get your badge and certificate for our 5 dares. But for Ibrahim or folks who couldn't stay up or life happened, you'll get to watch them all, and you can still redeem your certificate if you watch and show that completion. Great. Here we are at the end. We worked all the way through all week. We won't recap that, but Kyle and Adam, our amazing support team, is going to drop in that multiplayer guide step by step, walk through it on your own, and then collect those questions. Adam and Kyle will also drop in. Remember, if you need to make a ticket today, just drop in workshop. That'll let them know you were here trying multiplayer. And then also at the end of the day, today's door prize we'll do in our community hub. We have a thread about remote learning. I'll drop the link in at the end, and we'll be giving our door prize in the community hub today. That's it, folks. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Stephen, where we are going to look at finishing up that collaborative multiplayer, right? We built bees yesterday. You were all so proud on Twitter, yellow team. We're going to see if there's some redemption today if someone didn't win, and then we'll see what else can you build, right? If it's not esports at the heart of it, what are other scenarios where you could be building entire worlds together? So Stephen, so excited. Thanks again for joining us on the last day of multiplayer week.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And yeah, it's sad that it's the end of the multiplayer week because I love this.
I know we might just have to steal you once a month for multiplayer, once a week. Just these little. It's so fun to just even have a little esports comp now that we have all these.
We could do a monthly Minecraft esports comp with just anyone who wants to join.
Well, and we could probably make more accounts, even though we could all have 30 at once, but I could be hosting, you could be hosting, and then we can just make a bunch of accounts and see who comes out of it. I love it. All right, I just signed Stephen up for more work.
Unbelievable. She has a way of doing that, folks. So yesterday I seem to remember, and I'm just going to share my screen. Have we got people logged in? Is that what's happening?
Not yet, I don't think. Shall we?
Let's do it. Let's get them logged in first, because we're going to jump straight in anyway. So if you could take care of that.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to share that same link again yesterday. We'll start afresh just in case someone didn't get a chance to go yesterday. We have a few new folks on the call. So let me just share my browser page with you to refresh what we were up to. We were in this one, I think. There we go. So let me grab this share. There's still people hanging out in here. I love it. So I'm going to grab this share link, come in. And there actually is still a bunch of open ones. So if you want to use the same one as yesterday, there we go. I've dropped in a shared Excel workbook. Just like yesterday, if you were here, like Tina was multiplayer too. So if you want to use that same account as yesterday for all of our day 5 people like Melissa and team, go ahead, open up Minecraft Education Edition, log in. There's also some empty ones here. So if you're brand new today, like I don't know if Ibrahim or Devery, you can now go and just put your name there so that you take that slot so no one else takes multiplayer 3. Then go ahead and open up Minecraft Education Edition, log in. Stephen, we can't change there because you guys are all going to be Steve 1 through 22. Because we're using our tenants, we can't change that. But just remember in your mind who you are, and then tell us in chat who you are. Maybe put a screenshot of you, pick your skin, and then at least Stephen and I can kind of start to make a connection and say, oh yeah, Devery Steve 21, and we can at least try to personalize our outreach to you that way. So log in. If you have total technical questions, of course, make that quick ticket to Adam or Kyle or ask us in the chat. as a recap, why are we doing this? We all have to be on the same tenet. So you guys are all officially Minecraft Education Edition cohort members for this. But again, remember, if you were on the same network at school, your kids would all just log in. And because you're probably remote, most of you right now, you do need to just do those technical setup. And I've put it here in case you miss it. You do need to set up that port forwarding, just a couple of small steps, right? You saw it wasn't too bad as long as you follow the instructions. And if you want your students to host their own, I bet you all have 5 or 6 students who are more than capable of following those instructions too, to host their own smaller groups. So there we go. I will hush up now and stop sharing my screen. Last call if you need help grabbing your accounts. And now let's get in another esports match. I'm so excited.
Yep, absolutely. So let's just make sure people are logged in, or at least have the time to get themselves logged in. Lots of people are. That, like, Hack has sent us a picture, and
I love it. Drop in those screenshots as you get them. Charles, good. Charles gave a thumbs up. He saw Carrie. Thank you. Wasn't able to edit it, so Carrie snagged 27 for you.
Yay! Thanks, Carrie. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And I am going to go now. I seem to remember that yesterday Bees got the first vote, but Splat Racer's got the second. Am I right?
Yep. I think we can go straight to Splat.
Yeah, let's just go straight to Splat.
All right. Who was in the chat while he's loading that up? Tell us in the chat. Were you on Team Yellow yesterday and won that bee? Hazel, we'll go ahead and chat to you to see specifically what you need help with. We'll make sure we get you there. Team Yellow was Karen. Miranda, there's your, Miranda got her same cardigan on today. So I already recognize Miranda and her beautiful cardigan. Team Yellow. Esther, he's going to drop in that join code right now in just a moment.
Ready? Alex Cookie Balloon.
Don't make Stephen a buffoon.
Yes.
Come early. Come in and get him nice. Hey, Steve 8 was our first joiner. Who's Steve 8? We got a special prize for Steve 8 for the first joiner.
The early bird.
Tell us in the chat who you are so we can see who we are. We got Steve. James, remember, James, you have to, remember you saw Stephen go into the library because Stephen's hosting, so he had the joy of picking Splat. You don't have to do that. You just go, and you want to go to join at the very, after you press sign in, there'll be a spot to put join world. So you got to put in that code, and then you'll join us in the Splat world. Hello, Deepak. It's great to see you again. Deepak, were you able to get a login to join us? Let us know in chat if we can help out. Michael is player 26.
And for those who are already in, just simply because we're waiting on a bunch of other people coming in, feel free to fly around. Go explore the world. It's crazy. There's.
Oop, there we go.
You can find the butterfly. Don't ask me how long it took to make. We made the butterfly by hand. Well, actually, we made huge amounts by hand. But let me tell you, for those interested, the plants that you see, those big green crazy plants, they were made in Google Tilt Brush and in virtual reality, drawn by hand using Google Tilt Brush and then imported into Minecraft.
That's so it's cool that you were able to capture curvature. Like, that's the most curviest thing I've ever seen in Minecraft. So.
It's the only way we could capture the design of the plants and effectively have them quite so detailed was to create them using Google Tilt Brush. So yeah, and that's one of the, taking this whole thing a lot further, are looking at using Minecraft as a tool for game making in your classroom. There is no end to the level of creativity and the tools that can help you to do that. So let me have a think about this. Well, who have we got in? I'm going to press escape and just make sure everyone else has got Alex Cookie Balloon.
Mike, you got that? Alex Cookie Balloon is the join code. I see. Jacob, we're going to leave enough time. Stephen, we'll get out of the world maybe with, let's give a full on 10 minutes and we can chat about how to actually make the worlds from scratch. So we've got some good questions. So we'll get through this game and then leave some good Q&A time for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll do, yes, and we'll also
Oh,
do a little collaborative world building if you
perfect.
don't mind. I've got a mission for people, you see.
When Jacob wants us to talk about how to import items into Minecraft, how you were just talking about making that Google Tensor brush. Maybe we can chat about how you bring stuff in. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're going to add 10 minutes. And so you'll see above there that the timer has given us 10 minutes. That's up there on the rainbow. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, just come over here to green. Alex 2, Alex 23, Alex 22. Just come over here to green, everybody. Everyone over here on the green space where I'm standing. Look at them, they're all going over there. No, this one. In fact, you know what? I'll TP everyone. TP at A to Stephen Reed. Right, okay. So everybody's on there. And then I just want anybody who is currently on anybody who my character is looking at, go over to yellow. There's my character here up in the sky. Go over to yellow. Alex 22, Alex 1, Steve 4, Alex 7. Head over to yellow. Alex 1, yellow. And also, yeah, Steve 2, you head over to yellow for me. Steve 1, you head over to yellow. I see you, Shakespeare. Alex 1, yeah, if you head over to yellow. And also, let me see the numbers. That's good. That's a good balance, I think. Maybe one more, actually. Alex 2, would you head over to yellow for me, please? Thank you. Perfect. Now, remember, if you were doing this with students, you would see their names and you would know who they were and so on. So, okay, and who we still got standing over here? Oh, that's Steve 13. Hi, Steve 13. Do you want to join yellow for me, please? Or green? Join green. All right. So what I'm going to do now is, you know the rules. Some of you played it yesterday. For those who didn't, over here is the big green area where you can build. Over here is the large green area, the large yellow area where you build. You'll be teleported there shortly. And then over the back end is where I'll do this green area is where I'll do the judging. And the yellow glass area is where I'll do the judging for these. And we can give up to 9 points. Hey, Iron Man. Would you, Alex 15, would you like to go in green, please? Thanks. He's just joined. There we are. 15, Alex. Go to green. Yay. Nice one. Okay, once everybody's there, let's make sure you're actually standing on green. Steve 22, you're not quite standing on green. And Steve 24, you're hovering above it. So let's make sure everybody's landed on green. Good. And then when I press this button, you're going to have 10 minutes. And what are we going to build, Wendy? What do we want them to compete in building?
Ooh, it could be, do we have a good theme? What would be a good thing to build for a Friday?
Well, since it's Splat Racers, you have to build a giant race car.
Ooh, all right.
No, you know what? Let's make this curriculum, this one. Because yesterday we did something that wasn't necessarily curriculum. I want you to build the human eyeball. Woo! It's a biology class and you have to build the human eye. Ready, set, go. Bye. Oh, Alex 23, you need to be on green. And Steve 12, you're still hanging around. You want to for me or yellow?
There's nothing better than the blank stare.
I know, just like staring right through me. Okay.
It's such like face to face. It's so close.
So time is ticking. You've got 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
So now that we have a little more time, guys, now Stephen talked about before how you might have a Teams chat, right? Or perhaps they are having a meeting to have that voice. And then look at that. Alex 23 pressed T, and you can go ahead and communicate with your team right now in the chat. Maybe not even the Teams chat, but in the actual game, maybe someone wants to say, I'm going to start working on the corona, or, you know, and maybe you want to Google, maybe people are researching. There we go. Thanks, Steve 13. Alex 3 is lost.
Alex 5 is over here. So Alex 5, follow me. Follow me, Alex 5. Ready? Okay, follow me. He's looking around. Right, go, go, go. Yes, right over here. Right here. Yes, indeedy.
So
And
Mike is our Iron Man, who's a little slow to the punch. All right, he's on a tether.
follow me, Steve 12. Over here, Steve 12. Okay,
Welcome,
over
David
here.
and Golik. If you've just joined, we are watching two of our teams battle. Oh my God, look at the eyes start to take shape. Yellow has got an early lead. Stephen, how are your esports commentating skills? I'm sure they're pretty good, right? Do you keep
Well,
it
I'm going
a
to
good
try.
announcer?
I'm trying to get Steve 12 into this world. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come over to yellow, Steve 12. Come on. Come on. You know you can do it. That's
There
it.
we go,
Yeah,
Steve
come on.
12.
Yeah, come on, come on. Yeah,
I like how
stand there.
Alex 22 is
There we are.
saying yellow team, so he's trying to communicate. So if you're on yellow team, Alex 23 is trying to tell yellow team to sphere it out to get a little 3D action.
Yep,
Steve Bates
sphere it
talked
out.
about iron block. We've got some directions going. Leaders are emerging from the
They
crowd.
are. They're doing really well. They're doing really well. And actually, I can see that everyone's kind of taken a task, which is really nice because you actually find with children that they just automatically organize. Like it's exceptional. When we did the league down in South Africa, there was just this incredible, like they almost fall into some sort of hive mind. And one of them assumes control, or two of them assume some degree of sort of leadership, and then off they go. And they're just like, here's what we need. Could you do that? Who's good with redstone? Me. Oh, we need this. We need, and before you know it, they're doing it. And then they have ideas. And what's lovely to hear is that you hear the kids saying, do you think we should make the middle bit? And they go, yeah, could you do that? And then they encourage each other, and they have disagreements as well. One of them will do a different color or a different size of something, and they're like, no, let's change that. And then, but it's so nice to hear them debate. They make informed decisions. They negotiate with each other. It's just lovely.
And look at Alex 23 is even, we're just seeing such good digital citizenship skills here, even just asking afterwards, well, what do you think about it, right? So even starting to do someone asking, right, to say, what do you guys think? Like, it's just so nice to see this natural digital citizenship come up. And like Stephen said, you're moderating this. So if you see things go awry, you can help gently give folks the help or support they need. What do you say to folks, Stephen, who are just getting into this, and it can feel, and I went through this as a teacher too, my first couple of times of doing project-based learning, or, where there's less structure or control, and where you do see kids just going off and they're going to make something and then you wait for it. How do you help teachers feel that kind of initial cognitive dissonance of letting go of control, but then let them wait to see this magic that's happening that you promise is going to happen, and it will? How do you help teachers get comfortable with that first sense of lack of control, maybe perceived lack of control?
There's a whole range of answers for that, but quite often I'll tell teachers to start small. And the esports worlds particularly are designed to do that. They have the set constraints, they have the rules, they have the timer, they have the scoreboard. And they have a small area of 32 by 32 by 32 that the kids can build in. But start even smaller than that. Like I'm going to do this over in the middle just simply because I can. But one of the things that I love to start with, and we did this, you and I, Wendy, but we started with, if we go into wool and just get the kids, just have your kids do this with you. Just say to the kids, help me out here. Here's what I want you to do. And we're just going to do these colors. I want you to first of all make a spectrum. So the kids then go along and they make a spectrum, and you see it happen and you think, oh, right. So I asked them for a spectrum and I got one. Okay, separate them into cool colors and warm colors. So they go, right, those are your cool colors, that's your neutral, and that's your warm colors there. And then and you've taught them, and then the teacher's like, oh, hang on a minute, that's brilliant. So that works. What about primary, secondary, and tertiary if you're doing it, but we're going to do primary and secondary. So then the kids go, right, your primary colors are your red, yellow, and blue. And colors are your orange and green and purple. And before you know it, you've watched children structure very small but very significant lessons, even if it's beyond them, even if they're like, I'm 12. You think I don't know what primary and secondary colors are? Just show me anyway. And then move to something slightly larger and so on. I mean, even with this, you say, I tell you what, then show me what red and yellow makes orange, and blue and red makes purple. And before you know it, you're just starting to structure it. And I often say to teachers, start small. Don't expect big things. Don't expect human eyeballs from your kids. Start with color, start with symmetry, start with writing your first book. All I want you to do is go and get a book and quill, and I want you to just write a diary entry of, say you're studying Magellan and his journey around the world, or you're doing Anne Frank. Let's start with just one letter. Dear Mother, I have been out for 3 days and I miss you. I'm sure Magellan didn't quite write that, but you know what I mean. And so what we then do is, as a teacher, you're kind of like, right, I can see this almost block by block. I can see this in chunks. I started small, even far simpler than my children needed, and I grew and grew and grew, and we grew it into, suddenly, next thing you know, your kids are building Constantinople, and they're going to build Constantinople because they did color and they did maths when you asked them to, and they wrote a calendar or a diary when you asked them to, and they made. So start small.
Look at this. Speaking of starting small, it's getting pretty big. 40 seconds left, folks. There's
40
retinas
seconds
being
left.
added. Somebody's telling to use a shift key to drop it. Oh my gosh, this is only 8 minutes, Stephen. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't know how you're going to judge this. Let's see. Ooh.
No, I need to go get my armor stands. And once everybody finishes, just don't stand on the glass, because you know that's my voting mechanism. Just stand in the middle and observe each other's, and you can kind of. It's looking good, everyone. I can see what's going on. This one has eyelashes, and it also has veiny bits.
Veiny bits.
Hang on, I got caught. Yeah, just veiny bits. There we are. Time's up. Everyone's been zoomed out, and it's my turn to go around and see what's going on. So this one's got veiny bits. It's been annotated as well. Let me go in there and see what that says. So I'm going to get myself some yellow, and I'm going to plonk it here, and then I'm going to go in. There we are, and I can see. So this says.
Oh,
nerve.
we have labels. It
has an optic nerve, a cornea. So you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to give you, and I've only got 47 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to add 10 minutes on there. See how I did that? I added 10, which means I'm not in a hurry, although I'm not going to use anything like that. And I'm going to say the optic nerve you get for detail. The eye looks great. The iris, I'm going to give you points for the eyelashes, although they are a little bit creepy. And then the annotation, you get a double point for annotation. That's fantastic. And then over here, I'm going to go in with green, and I'm going to have a good look at this. So I'm just going to go to there, and I'm not sure. Am I in there? Oh, I'm inside their eye. Oh, no, it's back in yellow. That's because once you've assigned a team, you have to then reset and go back in as yellow. So sorry, I do just have to go through. That's one of the flaws. We can't reassign a team without masses of code. So look at that. They've put Team Gurn, which is great. Okay,
so Esther needs some teleport help. If you can get her back, can you get everyone back?
Yeah, where's Esther?
Esther, which one are you? What's your handle, Esther?
All right, I've just got everyone there. There we are. Does that work?
Okay, there you go. Perfect.
Oh, so this one's got blue. Okay, everybody loves blue. Look at that. Everybody loves blue eyes. So I'm just going to get an armor stand back, and then I'm going to give you points for nice use of color. It's square, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. And then there's, I don't know what that is. There's some sort of.
That's almost like a monocle or something. Or they've done a cross section almost, right? Like they've taken a little piece out so you can see layer by layer.
I'll give them a point for being a cross section.
In the chat, you can give us maybe your explanation there if anybody wants to try to defend their decision and maybe sway the vote of our judge today. Drop that in the chat.
Also, I also like the blood and gore.
Yeah, some gore. And then take a screenshot of your teams, guys. Remember, we'll give away our Twitter prize too. So let us see your eyeball creations. Put those on Twitter today. These are gorgeous. Oh gosh, I love the Alex 14 is so sorry. The eye is not complete. That can be probably the hardest part of life for kids, right? Having these constraints, right? That's not done yet. It'll never be done is the thing, that they're life lessons that they'll get, right? But
you're saying that. But what we found with South Africa was that they actually learned very quickly so they learned to plan accordingly. So they were able to say, right, we know this is a 20-minute match, not a 40-minute match like on Friday. And so what we're going to do is, and they knew roughly what they could do in that time.
She's going to get covered. Miles going to get covered in crumbs.
No one wants to be covered in crumbs.
No crumbs here. This is a crumb.
There's no crumbs in this stream. And so So this is great. I actually really like this, but I have to say the most completed model, including the annotations, and therefore the winners. And let me just head over here. I'm just going to take off the minutes. So once you've given yourself more time, you'll see I'm now just cutting down the vote time to 3, 2, 1, and then I'll take the last one off, and that takes us down to the last 37 seconds. And then we'll get our little winner prize.
I love it.
Fireworks.
Stephen 22 just brought up a good point of the debrief, right? And he said, you know what, we didn't communicate. And how could you, right? This was a pretty rush. We were doing a demo. We didn't even have teams. But Stephen, can you talk a bit during these last 20 seconds about how you do debrief about communication? How do you help kids unpack what worked well, what didn't work well, and then what can we do better next time? How do you help these real world collaboration skills kind of hone as each match that you do?
Yeah, and so, I mean, communication is vital, and the kids will do it in a whole variety of. Why has that done that? Sorry, it's gone back again. I don't know why it did that. Sorry, folks. It's not meant to do that. Anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, it's quite. It comes with the knowledge of the product, which a lot of the kids have, and it also comes with the experience. But the key thing is communications. We obviously, with South Africa, we ran the entire thing through Teams, but very often kids will have their own sort of chat servers, or they'll choose another system, and that's fine. However, whatever's easiest for you. We've even had some kids run them in Slack, for example, or Discord. But we ran ours in Teams, and the kids were just able to plan, communicate, congratulate each other. They were able to negotiate. There was just so much richness, and I would definitely encourage that. You know, get them into those chat channels. Give them the.
And then Steve 22, like you said, you might at the end of that let the kids tell you what didn't go well, and then make a plan for next time and say, well, next time, and then tell each other and say, next time, let's make sure we mention each other, or make sure we get agreement on something before we go, and let them come up with those rules with themselves. And it's amazing. They'll write themselves in one or two matches for sure.
Well, and alternatively as well, you could get them to make a little Flipgrid. Get them to make a little video, you know, that says that is a debrief. My debrief is here's where and give them 3 things that they could do. You know, this is what I did. This is what I felt I could have done better, and this is where I think I shone. And they just do a little Flipgrid video into the camera to see.
I love that.
And they could do something like that as well, and almost like debriefing themselves, but also as a class. And then everyone else can then go on and comment and say, actually, you know, you said you weren't very good with the wool placement, but the wool placement was what got us the points at the end. And they sort of encourage each other, stuff like that. So congratulations to Team Yellow again. That was Team Yellow yesterday and today, but I'm assuming they all have different people in them because I did it by random, at random. But hopefully this has been a really nice experience for you. I'm going to stop hosting this world, and we're going to go join another one. So stay logged in. And
I'll take a quick beat there because we had a couple questions about game mastering itself. So when you this one, we're just going to go into a world now. Are we switching into just collaborative world building and not so much of esports, or are we going to go into another sports match, Stephen?
We are going to go into another sports match. So
okay, great. So when you go in there, we did have a question about Crystal was wondering how you played with the timers. And so now that everyone's experienced at least 2 now of being a player, I wonder if you could slow it down a bit on what you did to start the timer, how you picked how much time. Let's show everyone when they're a game master, how will they go through these things. So I'll start first with choosing that world, right? So and then you go to.
You start with choosing the world, and then you log in. And then what you do is, and I'm just going to show you this rather than have people join, because what I'd like to do is take you to a lesson, and we'll have you build a lesson, you know, as well, because I think esports is great, but there's also room for, well, what else can you do in multiplayer? And since this is the last night, I want to cover all of that if we can. And then what you do is you kind of just check everything's working. So I always check, I just say, look, timers at 0, scores are at 0, and you'll find those wherever. In this one, we happen to be in the pirate world. And then I head down and I just make sure that I know where my orientation is. And you start in each world where you should, and then it's easy to get orientated if you know how to move around. So I'm like, all right, this must be where the yellow people stand. This must be where the green people stand. And over here are my controls, and they're uniform, as you can see. And then I choose my time. Now, we might already know that. I mean, I would think you'd planned it to a point where you were like, I know this is going to be a 30-minute match. So I'm going to put 10, 20, 30, and I'm going to give my kids just 1 extra minute so that they can get in, planned and orientated. What I also do is sometimes I say, actually, it's a 40-minute timer, but that's because 10 minutes is researching the subject. I'm going to give them a subject that is new, and I want them to research and build it fast so that so it might be something that they have to go online and research, and they've got 10 minutes to research, or you've got 40 minutes to do all of your research and build. And we did this in South Africa also. They were like, well, what if we give them things that they're not overly familiar with, like the human heart? What does the human heart look like? And then, so then they've got 10 extra minutes of research time built in. Alternatively, you could just do a timer where you do 10 minutes just simply by clicking the start, and you say, right, you know, 10 minutes, that 10 minutes is up. I am going to reset the timer and we're all going to come back to the beginning. And that's just the research time. But once you've decided the time, you then set it. So I'm just going to put in there 20 minutes, this one. I'm going to add 10 minutes, 1 extra minute just for them to orientate while they're there. And then I get them organized. Now, we haven't been able to do this, but we would always have them organized in advance. So you'll know your teams. You've given them, encourage your children to set up real teams. If you know this is an ongoing thing, have them, you know, the diamond miners or the parrot keepers or whatever kids want to call themselves. And then you assign them as part of your class. They get green or they get yellow. Maybe you get them to do a small art activity beforehand to make a badge or make a logo.
Team. I love it.
Yeah, build some team. Yeah, and team cohesion is hugely important for esports, and all that team identity is so important, and that can carry with them through their whole school, you know. And then what we're going to do is once we're ready and they're all standing where they are, you press start, and they'll all just go off, and the game begins. So it's as simple as that. And you head over.
Look where your timer is on the sail there. Bradley's got a question. I've dropped the link in, everyone, where you can see all of these, the Splat, this Pirates Cove, so you can get all of these pre-made worlds, no problem. But Bradley wants to know, those are all custom made for these games. Is there a way that Bradley could build the scoreboard and timer into his own world?
So the way we've designed these, Bradley, and it's a great question, the way we've designed these is that if you move any of if you try to change the timer or the functions of these, you can't move that. So let me show you what I mean by that. You can't move the timer, and you can't move the build area, etc. So let me just go up here and show you. I can get, if I go into the right game mode, WB, I can get rid of the sails, but I can't get rid of the timer. And that's because the timer is being spawned in. Like those numbers are literally being spawned in at a time. And so you can't, and same with the scoreboard, you can't do it. So what we found is the best way to do this is to strip out everything around it. So I've done that. So what I've done is, if I want to make another world real quick for someone, I just leave the controls and I leave the timers on the sails. And then what I do is I strip out everything else and I build around that. And that's how the garden came to life, the bees. The bees is actually the same timer as...
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's fun.
Yeah, so the bees is the same timer as binary builders. So binary builders, and in fact, let me show you that. You'll get an idea of it. And it's really good to know, because actually that's the first step, Bradley, in having your children make their own worlds around these timers, make their own games. So you see how I'm looking at a square timer with a large square on either side, and then down behind me, roughly there, and actually quite offset. If I'm in the middle, it's actually offset to the left. If I go into binary builders, you'll find that that was the origin of, where's binary builders? There. That was the origin of this world, but we turned it into a garden instead, simply because otherwise we have to, and now we haven't done that for them all. We've separately coded, but there's my score. There's my green and my yellow, and then behind me down here is the same controls. So imagine this was the box, that's the beehives, over here is the scoreboard with the big porch, we just built around it, and then we redecorated it, rechanged it, and then we changed the.
Awesome.
So it takes a bit of coding, and it takes a lot of understanding of the back of Minecraft, but ultimately, yes, you can do that.
Great question, Bradley. We also had a question from Melissa. I've dropped in classroom mode, and so that's a different install that you have. Stephen's just showing us his masterful classroom management skills just by teleporting, by using his voice, by directing folks around. So that's the level of his classroom management in game. He doesn't need anything else. Classroom mode is a different standalone application that will let you see where your students are. So definitely give it a go, but Stephen's doing this without that.
Yeah, I could do that if you want. Do you want me to show classroom mode?
Maybe let's make sure we get through collaborative world. Let's end with that, because I know we're also working on that developmentally on some new things, so we'll want some feedback from folks. Could you show Miranda the command to bring everyone back to you nice and slow, and maybe then you guys can practice. That's probably your #1 command that you want to do once you get in there, other than start your timer, get your kids in there. I think everyone knows all of those skills. Let's see and watch Stephen how he got everyone back.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll actually host this world so you can all come in. And then that just, so there we go, map sign agent. Map sign agent. And I'll just give, I don't need to see too many people in, I just need a few in so that we can do that example. There we go, Steve Aitson and so on. There we go, that'll do. Don't worry too much about jumping in because we're not actually going to use the world. But now that you're in, you'll see that everyone's gathered over here. If I want everyone to come where I want them to be, so there we go, Steve's just cut. Bye, Steve. If I want everyone to be on top of the P over here of print, I just do /TP, which means to teleport, /TP, space at A, which means all players, TP at A, space, and then yourself. Now I happen to be Stephen R in this world, so I just go enter. There we go. And everyone appears with me. There's a shortcut as well, I believe, which is TP at A at S. And what that is TP everyone to yourself, enter, and everyone now goes there. So I'll just hold that. I'll just put that up one more time at the bottom and you can take a copy of that on paper or whatever. TP
and we'll drop in
A
Stephen's great OneNote that walks through kind of these technical aspects as well. But great question, Miranda, and thanks, Stephen, for showing us that.
Not at all.
All right, last call for questions about kind of just the initial esports, because I think we are going to go into our collaborative world building. So let us know any other technical questions rolling around in your mind, join code, once you get in there, how Stephen got you to your 2 different teams, the timer, the voting aspect, let us know. We've all got teleporting down, perfect. All right, I think we're square to keep going. Let's do it.
Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to drop into the Vikings world, and I have a mission for you. I'm just here, and I'm going to make sure that you land in the right place.
Before we get folks in, is there anyone in the chat who wasn't able to log into the last one that would like to? Let us know, and maybe we can switch out a couple folks. Denise was unable to. Denise and Tanya. Oren has just logged out of multiplayer 23. So Hazel, how about you take 23? Michael is going to give up multiplayer 26. So how about Tanya? Can you log in as multiplayer 26? And then we just need one for Denise. Denise, Alex 1. I think that was multiplayer 1, Bradley. Denise, if you'd like to do multiplayer 1 at. Esther, we'll drop the join code in just a moment once everyone gets logged in. Join code coming, Hazel. All right, last call. Anyone else want to log in that wasn't able to last game? All right, Stephen, it's nice and quiet in here before the chaos. Yes. There's always that moment to take a deep breath before. Are you ready for the chaos?
I am. So let's do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start hosting. So that is sign agent rail. We cannot fail. Sign agent rail. Together we cannot fail.
Denise, I dropped in the full username and login for Denise. Who's in first? You're still there all alone. Who's going to come in first? Thanks, Charles. Yep, you got to download the game. Yeah, it might ask you, right, Stephen? It might prompt them to download a little piece.
Oh, yes. Yeah. All it's done is it's just asked you to download a small resource pack, which would be the skins, actually. It would be the NPC skins like Baldur or, you know, that kind of stuff. That's all. And a troll here or there.
Alex 2 was your first one. Who's out?
Yay,
Let us know in the chat who you are, folks. Who's Alex 2, our bearded man today?
Who's the hillbilly? Come on.
Yep, let's see it with your ripped jeans. Who are you, Alex 2? Everyone's downloading your trolls.
It is. Shouldn't take long, and it's a nice little example actually, because there will be worlds that you pull from either the online or on our library and so on, and these worlds will be available in the library very shortly. That you will be asked to download resources for. So
Stephen, can you show the join code one more time? I'll try to snag a screenshot.
The thing, it's Sign Agent Rail.
You see why the rhymes are so important. These are actually very key to.
Steve 2's in. Sign Agent Rail. We simply cannot fail.
Downloading. We got another set. Who's Steve 2? Tell us in chat who's Steve 2.
Yeah, if the download's taken too long universally, I mean, it shouldn't. They should all be relatively small. But if the download's taken too long, I could just go to an ordinary world. But I thought this would be a nice little exercise in history building.
People are joining. Yeah, people are coming. Oh, James is our plaid beard man today. Thanks, James. We have Alex 22. Look at this. Got some
Alex
camp
22
action.
is working for the Peace Corps.
Yep, I love it.
And then, yeah, people are starting to fall in line now. Look at that.
Oh, Tina is Steve 2. Awesome, Stephen. Thanks. Awesome, Tina. Stephen, it always makes it seem like you made this world just with a bunch of your clones because it happens to also be Steve, but
yeah. Finally, I have an army.
Finally. Alex 3 is Ibrahim. All right, great to have you, Ibrahim. All right, we might have a quorum.
We do. What do we got? Yeah, lots of people coming in now. So we're going to get started, and the more people that come in can join in. But what I want you to do is, we're a Viking group, okay? We're a Viking, what would you call it? Clan. We're a Viking clan. And Earl has decided that we are going on a summer raid into Britain. But there aren't enough ships. These ships are full. They're full with 2 other clans. And it's kind of embarrassing because we don't have our own ships. And so we need to build a ship fast right here, right where I am on the water. So we're in creative mode. Everyone's in creative mode. So get your creative juices flowing and get together and build a longship. Doesn't have to be like the ones we've got there, but build a Viking longship. There's a model if you want, or you can go look online and find your own design for one. But just get started. And so this is a nice way of looking at, I mean, this is a real thing we do with kids. This is an actual task. We want them to build a Viking ship. Now, we do it slightly differently by incorporating mathematics into it, because they have to know how many trees they're going to need to chop it down, etc., etc. But you're in creative mode. We're just going to build together.
And so this is a little different than our esports world in that we're not making teams necessarily, but this is a whole group build. Right, Stephen? And then time-wise, you can just verbally tell them, or you can use other, if you're sharing your screen, you could show a timer on Chrome or something like that as well. We have some good questions coming here. Don't forget to use your T if you want to communicate with each other, just like those great communication skills we saw last time.
So Alex 22 is looking down. I've given you a start point, because a lot of teachers then go, I can't build in the sea. And I say, no, I'll give you a little island. But it's all yours. So just go, just build. However you want to do, that's it. So Alex 22 is off. And then let's see if we can get some sort of communication going, some sort of design. Again, the kids would be talking. They'd either be face-to-face in class, or they'd be talking through Teams.
There we go. Alex 12 has broken the ice. Hello. Look, we've got those great models next to them that they can see for inspiration. Oh, there we go. Now they're warming up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have the population of the village is growing, and therefore we need to build more housing. So I want you to go and look at, we haven't necessarily got it entirely accurate. Somebody might want to build another house, and a Viking house in the style of the Vikings. Meanwhile, and I'm not saying this is what we actually do, but someone else, another small group in my class, has been tasked with redesigning the inside of the longhouse, because the Earl, it's a new Earl and he doesn't like the old decor. And another group have been tasked to go and find the frost giant that's hidden somewhere in the map and destroy him because he's been stealing all the food from the village, etc., etc. And before you know it, you've actually got kids in groups doing multiple lessons. If you wanted to. For our lesson, we have a longboat.
Got some different wood types coming out.
Nice, yep.
It looks like we had a breakaway go and said they want to go do the village house. I love it. So there's some, got a sample on the chat. Oh, somebody's using multiple chat modes. We've got someone in game, and then Charles has also dropped an example to build off of.
And then we've got Alex 7 saying, can someone make an outline so the others know where to build from? So they're probably looking at an outline that looks like there. Let's just, and we'll do the same there. And then we can build together. Look at that. So there's our outline of our boat. That's looking good. Everyone.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's looking great. You see, now people know what they're doing. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when, you know, pedagogically, it's about giving children the guidance beforehand. This is not particularly a good example because we're in an environment where we're not able to do that. But you've planned, they've been doing the Vikings all this week. You've had a focus on boats now for 2 days. You've done some mathematics around the boats. You've done some history. You've explored where the boats went and what they looked like. And now you're like, hey, everyone, we're going to go into Minecraft tomorrow. And I want you to have a think about when you're at home tonight. I want you to have a think about when you come in tomorrow. I want you to have a think about this. Now, I'm using the Vikings and I'm talking as if I'm working with primary school children, but we did exactly the same with secondary school children recently of Mice and Men. And we asked them to think about how they would create scenes from the book of Mice and Men. And they had to research and they had to read and they had to be very familiar with the set scenes that they wanted to do. And what was remarkable about that was that one group did all of their scenes in the reverse of the race. So they, you know, in terms of the narrative of race. So they made it that it was a white protagonist in a black community, and they spun it. They were black kids and they spun it and said, let's look at this through a different lens. I never asked them to do that. They came up with that themselves. And then and it was a really, really interesting, it was just their way of saying, I took this lesson, I interpreted what you asked of me, and I put my own spin on it. It was fantastic. Teacher loved it. They weren't my kids. The teacher absolutely loved it. And so so we can do this at all levels. It doesn't. There was another group we did recently where we brought them into the world, and then we got them to write Japanese haikus and then build worlds that reflected those haikus in terms of color and design and space, and it was amazing. And they were designed in small groups of 5 and 6 children, and then when they were finished, they exported their worlds and shared them like a round robin round the classroom, and round and round and round it went. And then every child got to experience every other person's a Japanese poem.
Extension. So the world's almost not even done. Like, just once you're done with the build, there's so much more that you can do with the curricula. John's also brought up too the backstory. When you could tell you kind of went into the great storyteller mode in the beginning, right? To hook into your kids. John, if you're there to unmute, John, do you want to tell how you do backstories when you kick off something like this? We'd love to hear.
Stories, everything.
Sure. Yeah, I love story-driven Minecraft adventures. So I teach history, and if you can take a subject like I get to do Vikings, but I also can do I've done Japanese heritage and culture and West Africa. So if you connect that historical content to a story that the kids can become a character in it. So you're surrounding them with the content and they're experiencing it, they're moving through it. The writing you will get and the creative building you will get will astonish you.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. I often talk about the 3 ingredients of building truly successful worlds that children want to be in. And those 3 ingredients are environment. You must make sure that you have the right environment. So in this case, we've built this cool toy box that children want to get in, and it's got mountains and it's a fjord and it has a river, and just the environment, build the environment. It could even be a flat world. It just has to be the right environment. The second is then structures and mechanics. So in this case, we built some boats, we gave a small forest, we have some characters and skins, we've given them some memorabilia and so on. And then the third, and this is the critical one, is narrative. It should always be a story. So even science, I talk about, we do this world where the children have to build molecules or they have to build DNA or whatever. And I say to the kids, before you do that, we're going to pretend that we're injected into, we've been shrunk to the size of a tiny molecule ourselves. And we've been injected into the human body like Inner Space of the 80s or Ant-Man of recent times. And we've been injected into the human body. And you're going to go in there in this submarine and you're going to visualize for me what it is that you're seeing. Because I can't go in with you. I'm out here looking after you. And so they go and they love this. And they're like, oh, I'm tiny. And they go into they go online. And they research what it is that they would do. What does a red blood cell look like? What does a white blood cell look like? What are platelets? What does DNA look like? And then they come out and they build it as if they were in this grand adventure inside the human body. And they love that. And it's just that narrative that you give them. This is looking amazing, although I'm not entirely sure what the sail is doing, but anyway.
We've got about 10 minutes left, Stephen. Any final tips for setting up, closing out your collaborative world building, right? In the chat, folks, let us know, did you feel a difference between what just a multiplayer build, a collaborative world build lesson might feel like versus an esports and team-based? Let us know if you felt the difference between those two. Any technical questions or classroom management questions for John on our team, or mentors, or anyone who's on the call. We've got a great resource with us today. So let us know, final questions, and then wrap us out here in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I can even see, you can note in here that I don't know who did it. I think it might have been Alex13 or maybe Steve 8, but somebody's attached rabbits to a lead, and then the lead is going up to the fence post. So it looks like from a distance, it looks like ropes. Look at that. We used to do that with hot air balloons to make sure that they were, but what you did was you buried the chicken. So we would put the chicken down in the ground, and I'm not sure if it works on bedrock, but you would put the chicken down on the ground inside 2 blocks so that it couldn't go away. And then you would get yourself a fence. We did it for, we did nursery rhymes. We built a whole world around nursery rhymes, and the kids arrived at each nursery rhyme in a hot air balloon. And they loved it because they could see the ropes and it looked as if it was tethered, but it actually was just chickens. And then we did this. Oh, hang on, I need to get the chicken first. Get the chicken and then get the lead. There we are. And then if you bury the chicken, it looks as if the hot air balloon's tethered, because imagine there was a hot air balloon up here, but it's actually just a rope. So that's what we used to do. That's what we used to do. It's crass, I know. There's a chicken hanging from the, but it works, you know, and it's lovely. So that's what I do, workshops entirely on aesthetics. How do we create aesthetics? How do we do Viking aesthetics compared to Roman, compared to Greek architecture? How do we create these rope systems and stuff? And it's all about helping children and adults to understand that Minecraft is so rich in stuff like this, that there's billions of possibilities that you just don't think of initially till you have the creative time or the challenge to do so. This is looking good, folks. I'm not entirely sure the Earl is going to be able to sail. I'm going to be honest. But let me tell you, every boat deserves a bell, right? Does every boat has a bell? So I'm just gonna give you a bell right up here. There we go. Let's just put a bell. It's uneven number. Might get one down here. No, we'll put it there anyway. There we are. The Vikings are coming.
Awesome work, team.
Yeah,
Do you
well
know
done.
of any ancient Chinese Silk Road worlds? And I love it. Mike also mentioned students are the best Minecraft teachers. What might you do? So Karen says maybe she'll even jump into this as soon as next week for her next lesson.
That's amazing.
And we got Mike has got his 10-year-old helping out right now. Stephen, what might be your best organization of student leaders? Might you, especially if you were a first go at this, like if Karen's going to try multiplayer, might you ping them on Teams and ask them to be a leader? Maybe they're the chat leaders. What are some tips for someone who might want to leverage their students in their class to help them get going on their first multiplayer?
Well, I think it's like everything else. I think it's starting small, and then find yourself a world. And we have, and I can't stop hosting the world to show you at the moment, but find yourself a world that, because remember, building from scratch is not necessarily where you need to start, and that's actually quite a difficult thing for lots of people to start from scratch. So like you saw, I kind of pulled you into a world that I already have and asked you to build an aspect of it. So have a think about that. Look on our library, in-game library, or go and check out the library on the Minecraft.net website, and just find something that you think you'd like to try. We have lots of games that you can look at and say, hey, I actually think I would like to take this. We have We Are the Rangers, for example, which is a group of worlds that's on there. Or we have Fantastic Mr. Fox. You want to start with something really nice? Start with Fantastic Mr. Fox and do some literacy around it. It's basically the scene and the scenes of the farms and everything. And then there's the Fox's Burrow. And you get the book, regardless of the age. And you can, Alex 23, you can put an NPC here, yes. And you can, but you can start with a world. There's the Oregon Trail. You want to do something in history? Start with the Oregon Trail. These are made for you. So, and then start with a small aspect of that. Don't think that you have to go in and do everything that was in that lesson. Just pick one thing. Just say, look, we're going to do the Oregon Trail, and what I want you to do is to build a wagon train. Just build one for me, and we can go from there. And that's. Oh yeah, no, that's good. It says your presentation has ended. Did you stop sharing?
I did, yeah. I was just going to show here, and I'm not showing the world anymore, but you can see here I've just gone to Flipgrid, and if anyone's thinking of, well, what can I do? I made this beautiful ship. If you want to take it one step further, all of you shared your beautiful ships with us. You can, of course, go through and just going to flipgrid.com, make your account if you don't have one yet, and you can go ahead and record your screen and walk through exactly how, right there I can say record a response. Here's me. I'm going to actually record my screen. Great. And then walking through, and if I had Minecraft up, I could pop it up there. But you could walk through and talk about, well, here's how I did good on making this ship. Here's what I want to do better next time. So as you're closing that out, consider doing that even for your own.
Yeah.
There we go. I also wanted to share too, let me just get in our, here we go. I'm going to drop a link in for today to get your door prize is to take your next steps, right? To apply all the great stuff our 5-day in a row people have learned, like Melissa out there and Miranda. I'm going to drop this link in the chat, and you can see here, what multiplayer lesson might you try? Are you going to try Splat? Do you want to try one of those pre-made esports world? Think about all those logistics that we talked through with Stephen, right? How many students are you going to have? Who's going to host? Just you? What's your objective? How will you assess? So I'm going to drop that in, and I'll wait till the end of the day if you want to have a think about it, and we'll give our door prize in our community hub. So let me drop that in there for you. I also wanted to share one more thing. I'll drop this link in as well. If you wanted to walk through our virtual certified teacher cohort, it's going to be for 4 weeks and help you come out with your certified teacher badge at the end of it. We will kind of practice a lot of the skills that Stephen showed. I'll drop in a link here as well. Stephen, that's my housekeeping. It's a huge thanks to Stephen, all of our mentors who've come and shared their insights in the chat as well. As you heard Stephen and I chat in the beginning, we will come up with some fun ways to keep having some esports for our Minecraft community. Of course, you can join Stephen on Play Matters. I believe you've got a fun Sunday play along. They can come watch you. Want to tell folks about that?
Yeah, so and I'm also, do you mind if I just share the screen? Because
Of
there's
course,
one more thing I want to end on, and
Yes,
it's not, it'll take 10 seconds, but there's one more thing I want to end on. But yes, I have a live stream called Play Matters, and on Mondays at 8 p.m. BST, I do what's called Minecraft Mondays, and it's just an hour or so of solid PD every Monday forever. And on Wednesdays, I do Worlds Wednesdays, where we showcase worlds from all over, worlds I've made, worlds other people have made, and we just showcase. It's called Worlds Wednesdays, and we talk about the curriculum and the pedagogy within those worlds. And then on Fridays, we do Figure It Out Fridays, where we all just get on a Teams call like this, and we just figure it out together. We build together, we make. I will mentor people through specific things. Yesterday, we built a times table machine which works, and it's really easy for mic call, and that's that sort of thing that we do. And then on Sundays, we just I run the same thing in mid-afternoon, first thing in the morning for the West and Western United States, and it's called The Arcade, and I play old Commodore 64 and Amiga games for 2 hours. Lemmings, Moonstone, just finished Dizzy. It's amazing. Anyway, the thing I wanted to finish on, and I'm sharing my screen, is if I'm going to teleport everyone to me, and I just want to finish on this thought, because we haven't got time to go into it, but I'm going to do /TP at S. By the way, your worlds are, whoops, unknown command. Oh, that's because I did double, right, okay. TP at S. Oof. Okay, I want everybody just to spread out a little. And then I want you all, now let me just double check this if I go into settings. Yes, I want you all to press C. Now everyone has an agent, and we can all code together. So think about that for a minute, and maybe Wendy, we could arrange a multiplayer coding thing to come. But now everyone has their own agent and everyone can code. So now we can compete in coding. We can challenge children to compete using loops or variables or logic, or we could just automate our building. You want to build a village together? Let's automate that process. So by the time we run the code, we build an entire village just using JavaScript or Microsoft's Make code. And so I don't know if everyone was aware of that, but just think about that for a moment. Multiplayer
I love that,
coding.
giving them something to think about, and we may or may not have our theme for our next esports match that we have going on. I love it, and perfect for getting ready for Hour of Code coming up soon. So awesome. Can everybody give us a big unmute and maybe even a big camera off, because it's our last day of Remote Learning Month. Oh, thank you, Stephen.
Hey,
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Mike,
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
Great.
Thank you,
Everybody's
John.
great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks so much. Without all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Stephen.
No problem. Without all of you, we're just talking to ourselves, right? So,
Thank you. I love it. Thanks, everyone. Get those tweets in, and then we'll be sending up a follow-up on Monday for not only our All Stephen prize for all of you who showed up all 5 days, but your certificate, your badge, all that good stuff. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend, and thanks for participating in Remote Learning Month. Good luck remote teaching, and we hope you have fun using Minecraft doing it. Bye, guys.
thanks, Wendy. Thank you.
Bye.